awesome, great, glorious day it is. This is the day the Lord has made, and indeed we shall rejoice and be glad in it. Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Umubanga podcast. Make sure you like, share, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. Share with a friend because this is amazing content coming up. These are stories which we haven't heard of. We're talking to movers and shakers who are mainly in the background, but creating massive impact in the nation of Zambia. And today I am talking to an awesome, amazing woman who has done tremendous things in this nation of Zambia. I'll just read her bio. So LeeAnnes is the founder of Image Promotions Limited, established in 1996. She's an experienced event coordinator, having headed many major events. Most notably is the AFDB annual meetings in 2016 with 5,000 delegates. However, now this has been beaten, so we need an update on this. So LeeAnnes is also an active partner in Rooney's Hire Zambia, which supports the events industry with infrastructure. She's passionate about the community and the environment and is an active Rotarian representing D9210. Yeah, project fairs. LeeAnnes is also very passionate about Zambia and has spearheaded a number of publications such as Magic of Zambia and The Best of Zambia. She's a mentor to many in the industry and was the founding chair of Events Professionals of Zambia. LeeAnnes is a great networker, well respected in the business community, and is based in Lusaka, Zambia. Ladies and gentlemen, put your virtual hands together. Welcome.
Thanks so much.
How was it listening to your bio being read?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
How does it make you feel like when you...
I think when you did some of your homework, because a lot of the time some people don't get the bio quite right.
Yeah.
But I couldn't fault you.
Awesome. Are you one who greatly accepts appreciation or people saying good stuff, or you're the one who's shies away and just runs away nah, don't do that?
No, I don't think so. I think I do appreciate when people work, but I do believe that what we do is a team.
Yeah.
And so I think whatever I've done, I've not done on my own.
Awesome. So for somebody who is watching this and they're intrigued, who's LeeAnnes? So yeah, who is LeeAnnes?
So LeeAnnes is a Zambian, born in, well, not quite born here, but I came when I was 3 months to Zambia. So good enough. My parents started in Chingola, but my dad was an entrepreneur, came through on the mines, and actually, moved from Chingola, I think, to LeeAnnes, and then we had the farm, the Benina farm on the Copperbelt, and that's where I grew up. I went to school, the LeeAnnes Convent, which is no longer there.
Okay.
And then I went to school in South Africa, did my high school in a government school in Bloemfontein, and then went off to study in the UK and came back to Zambia. So, I'm married to Satwant, the rally driver, and I have 2 daughters and 2 fabulous granddaughters, and that's a little bit of my background and where I come from. My dad was amazing. He, I think he inherited some money from my mum's dad when he died, and actually took that money and went to Europe and got the franchise for Benina sewing machines, and then set up a whole industry here in Zambia for domestic and industrial machines. There's a lot of people that actually grew up on that, because at that time then the hub of the sewing was in Livingston, and of course in Ndola, and then we had the Serios factory in LeeAnnes. And also my great Rotarian friend Ravi Devalia, which was Cleopatra Fashions, also has a lot to say about how my dad actually helped him in the business. But then when we started auctioning the kwacha, everything went belly up.
Also, the business is no longer there.
No, the business, like many things at the time, when we started auctioning the kwacha, we went from 2 to 26.
Yes.
It just killed industry, because we, for instance, had a 6-month credit line, and you couldn't just change, suddenly like that. If you sold your goods and then, you at 2 to 1, and then you had to pay 26 to 1. It was impossible.
Yeah.
And so that was the end of a lot of businesses at that era.
Okay. So what was the family journey? So you went to school in South Africa. So when you came back, were you done with university? Were you?
No, I just did high school in South Africa. It was
Okay.
quite a tumultuous time. I finished in 73. It was very tumultuous in South Africa. And actually, I was very young and didn't really understand all the politics of it, but could feel, coming from a very cosmopolitan background, of course, being Zambia, that racism that was there, what do they call it, the apartheid, was just didn't sit. And so we actually didn't go back to South Africa until Mandela came out. So it was quite a long time. Also, because I got involved with my husband, who is an Asian and from Tanzania, we actually had to make a choice. So it was either East Africa or South Africa.
Okay.
And so actually because of that, then I went to East Africa, because at that time, if you went to East Africa, they didn't take any South Africans or people that had South African stamps in their passport. And I really got into trouble at the Nakonde because I had a stamp in my passport and they wanted to lock me up because they thought I was a South African spy.
Ah, interesting. But you do have like a Zambian.
Yes, no, my dad made us all Zambians in 1956. My passport number was 376.
Just to remember it.
It's only 3 digits. So yeah, so no, we all of that. So whatever nationalities we had rights to, my dad gave away. He was very adamant that we were Zambian. He was a member of parliament for Roan constituency.
Oh, awesome.
Under Kaumbe.
Okay, awesome. That's good to know. So in terms of university, where did you do it from?
I went to England.
Okay.
And then I didn't complete my university because I was very young and stupid and in love, and so I didn't do that. And then I had a child, and then I went back and I did nursing.
So you got married immediately just after?
Not quite. I got involved as you do, and then it didn't. It wasn't really accepted. There's an age difference of about 13 years, and it wasn't accepted in the family. Different culture wasn't accepted. Many things was not accepted. So this was quite a rift in the family for some time.
Okay. So I know in the Zambian space, most people who've interacted with you have interacted with you on an events, on the events side. To walk us through the journey of setting up image promotions, because look, there's even an aspect of medicine in your journey, and then you found yourself in the events side.
So I got involved with my husband, Satwant, who set up a transport business. And so we worked in the transport business. I did for 16 years. And then at the same time, I also did motorsport. So I was president of the Motorsport Association of Zambia. And during that time, we actually took the rally, which was the Zambia International Rally, and put that rally on the international calendar for the FIA. And that was a circuit that Satwant actually competed on to win him the titles. So that sparked an interest in actually just doing events. So then I decided to just settle and do the events, and I set up Image Promotions in 96.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was very green. I think the event industry only started about 10 years early, and of course it hadn't caught on in Zambia. So it was a very hard industry to penetrate, and it wasn't easy to get in and to just go. Mostly it was government
Events.
Well, government organized events, as you say, and then to get in, they already had set up, and they didn't see a need for a professional to come in. However, my take on this is, and as we go, and it's more, you get more sophisticated, and you want more out of of events, and you appreciate the time that people take to spend in the event. It's very important that you do have a professional running the event, because in whatever organization you come from, you've got a focus and you've got your own objectives that you need to do, and you're having an event for a reason to get things out. And that reason is not, when you do an event, you don't need to focus on the logistics, which can be very time consuming and very complex. So it's really important, and globally now it's been recognized that how important an event manager is. And we do many different aspects of the event, which we do here, and sometimes we do what we call ourselves as a turnkey solutions. However, we also do other things. You mentioned Roonies. So Rooney's will do infrastructure. So Rooney's will do the tents and things like that, but they won't get involved in running the event. You'll go to Rooney's and say, well, I'm got this event, and so I need these things. For instance, in this event that we just did, the CPHII, it was raining season, November, so we had to do walkways. So, you go to say, what are you going to do? And so we did these really creative walkways that if it did rain, which it did, people could not get soaked, because given Mulungushi, the way it's set up now with the KK wing and the old wing, it's quite a distance actually between the two, so we could shorten that distance where they're going to get soaked, and it was quite fun. So that's event suppliers. What I like to focus on in image promotions is organizing an event, putting everything together. And I think that the industry is now starting to acknowledge and accept the great need for that.
Okay, awesome. So the journey, did you at some point, because I know there's a lot of bureaucracy, there's a lot of no proper systems, as you put it, say Zambia was catching up to the events management side of things. How did that go? Did it just...
It was very gradual and very hard. I was just looking today at one of the events that we did, which was in 2000, actually. I did try to get ICASA, but I didn't manage that. That happened in about 99. I didn't manage to take that on, but I did get an event in 2000 that was the EU SADC Mining Forum, where Lumwana was actually put forward as a mine, and so we did that. So it was quite slow, and partnering with a lot of people, and that's important. So that was one of my first big international events, which was really great. And I think the success is actually just the commitment that you put to making everything work. So when we're doing an event, we don't sleep. I don't know, run on adrenaline. Red Bull a lot. Because you keep on thinking, what else, so you've got to plan and see what else you can do to make it better. You can't just walk away and say, I've done that. You just don't do that. So when we are doing events, we're always looking at something else that we can do. So moving from that, I was doing, with the motorsport, I was doing branded things like branded shirts, branded things. I was doing trophies. So that kept us going until we could really get our foot into the industry, and then actually rather contract out more than doing. Because, the success is in actually your suppliers. If you can choose your suppliers and they don't fail you, your event is a success. If the suppliers fail you, it's a real problem. It's a real problem. And, an event will go on. An event is an event, it will go on. The job as an event organizer is to make sure that it goes on as successfully as it possibly can. I mean, it's not always perfect, but you have to just try to make everything, lots of things happen. Internet fails, this one, whatever happens, we've had many things that do happen. You have to deal with that and just go on. So that's what we tend to do.
Okay. You've spoken on having different suppliers and want to touch on an aspect of partnerships. How was the journey? How has been the journey?
So when I started, one of the key things that we have to have, and you do often have on events, is that they're bigger than the capacity. So one of the things, or they're in a different place where you might not have the infrastructure. So we did the the Sunshine Tour 1 year, and then we needed to get a tent, and what was available on the market was just not what we needed. It was not what we needed. They didn't expand. They didn't have things like the lighting, the lining that we do. They didn't have the cutlery, crockery, and so then I just went in and I said, okay, I have to deliver, so I need to get these things in order to deliver. So I partnered with Rooney's in Zimbabwe, and they came in and helped us with a lot of stock. It is a great partnership because they've got their third generation, so they've got a lot of experience. And it's just, I think we have the same ideology and the same, we run with integrity, So the partnership has been fantastic. From there, I did partner with some other companies or people. Not all of them have been that good, and not definitely not as good as my ongoing partnership that is with Rooney's. So and then we just grow. So sometimes it's just one of those things. So we have done, especially in the AV field, had partners and things like that, interpretation. We did that. When I came into the industry, we didn't have local things now. So the difference now, I think from 2016 when we did AFDB and now when we did this CPHIA, in 2016, I think about nearly 90% of our suppliers came from South Africa.
Okay.
We had Gearhouse, we had the Dome, we had all kinds of things. Scan displayed at the expo, lots of things like that. This time round, I would say 80% of the 80, even more than 80%, was local. So it's a big difference, and that's without having such a big event. But definitely the small events have all happened, and people have really risen to the occasion. So it's really good. So I'm looking to see that we can do more, and we just need to have, work harder to take a look and see that we can deliver to a higher level. Because when we are delivering on international events, the standards are exceptionally high, and you can't counteract that. Your sound needs to be good.
Yeah.
Everything needs to be just perfect. Your Wi-Fi, you've got to have backup. Many
backup.
many different things. You've got to be on time. You've got to test things beforehand. A lot of the times they're coming up, they want specific things. We've done things for Bloomberg. They want specific chairs, colors of chairs, microphones. They must line up with the color of the people, the presenters. So you have light, dark, brown, all of those. They're very, very particular, which is lovely, which is what I love doing the international events, because working in Zambia, when you do international events, you kind of like, they also bring to you the fore of what is happening outside of Zambia, and then you have to rise to that occasion. So it's really good being able to do those things in Zambia and to deliver from a Zambian perspective. So, what we try to do is, like with AFDB, we need to get the contract, and we need to be able to then contract people which are local, as opposed to getting foreigners in to get the contract, and then we get a little bit of the crumbs that are left on the ground, and they take it. We really need to be able to and show that we can deliver, because people are asking for the best, and you need to be able to deliver that.
Okay. So, as a founding chair of the Event Professionals of Zambia, how has it been looking at the many people now jumping on the bandwagon of events? I know if somebody says I'm an event manager, who mainly speak on weddings.
I think the thing is that what I saw in the industry, and especially for people that come, and sometimes even more the international things, is that you need to have a standard. So the idea of setting up the Event Professionals of Zambia is to set up a professional body that can actually control that, so that we are working with professionals. So we encourage everybody in the industry to join the Event Professionals of Zambia. Okay. Now, when they join a professional body such as that, they call it EPAS for short. Yes. You can't ensure that everybody delivers perfectly. However, the way it should work, or the way it does work, is when somebody does not deliver to the standard, then you take action. So you don't have a lot of chances to do something. So if somebody really doesn't deliver, or there's something wrong, they'll say, okay, yes, I've got a venue, and then you go there and there isn't a venue, Yeah. That's not acceptable. So at least there's some way where people can come and say, well, this is what happened to me. So the first thing we can say, well, are they a member of EPAS? Yes or no? So if yes, then we need to take action, and we need to investigate if they're a member of EPAS to say, what happened? And there's always two sides to a story. And if, we always say the customer is right. But you have to, you always take it as that. So, you give that, but then you can come back, and if there's a problem in what it is, and see how we can resolve that, whatever the problem is. Now, if the member, the vendor that came in, as I mentioned, if they're not a member of EPAS, we just turn around and say there's nothing we can do, they're not our member. However, if they are a member, we have to take it to task and investigate and see what is the issue. And we have had instances of that, and deal with it, because it's not acceptable in our industry. And that is one of the key things that we set up with EPAS, was to have professionalism in there and ensure that there is the people that we have there, we should offer training, and so that they are perform well and can deliver the service.
So who can be a member of the
Anybody in
association?
the industry, to be honest.
Okay.
It's anybody. If you're related within the industry,
Okay.
then you can join.
So
and
that
there's different
can
levels.
be creators,
Yes.
transport people, like
Well, more specific. I think we actually don't have anybody in transport, because transport is a little
car
bit.
hiring, or because it.
Yeah, but we get a lot of people that do like decor,
Yes.
and we get the AV people coming in, and stage, all of those type of things. Ones that are managing things, event suppliers such as something like Rooney's. We haven't got. I'm not to say we won't have it, but I mean, for instance, car hire, yes. Limousines, yes. That type of thing, we could come in and take those ones. I think there is a tussle because, of course, ZTA wants you to register with ZTA as well. So now it's a question of economics. How much can you afford to keep on joining all these different organizations?
Yeah.
And so, of course, for IPAS, we're also looking at what benefit we can give to our members. So when there is work, you try to put it around there. But also, I think for me, there's two things that EPAS needs to do. One is that we upskill all the members, and then also that we have standards. You have a disciplinary standard so that you can work on that.
Okay. I saw you as well mentor a lot in the industry. So, do you conduct classes, or it's pretty much somebody who's interested or inspired by what you do?
We do a lot. We have constant ongoing training I have within my organization that spreads right across. So it's mandatory to do training and to upskill. So anybody that comes in, guaranteed, I can tell you without one exception, is that they definitely upskill. Totally, on many, many different levels and on every level, from personal hygiene going to being a computer expert. All of these things are critically important. So we always do that, and there's a number of people, I think in the industry, there's very few people that have not gone through image promotions, in one way or another. And so, so we're exceptionally demanding, I think. And we do that. So we always do in-house training, but now it extends, because when we did the conference on public health in Africa, CPHIA, we had over 700 staff.
Okay.
So all of that, they all had some element of training. For instance, we did buses, so we had over 3,000 delegates that had beds in the city. So that is not bad. We went past even Sandy's, to get beds. So what happens, we call it a bell curve in the accommodation. So the bell curve goes like that, and then the peak is just like the opening day or so. So during that time, there wasn't a bed to be had in the the beginning of the things. There was nothing in any of the 5-star hotels at all. However, afterwards, there does come availability. So people will move around and things. But in that one, we did transport everybody to the venue. So the buses were running like 24/7. And we had an excellent team that was running that. And also we had what we call bus captains. We even had one that was singing and baking cakes. And so, it also shows that they take pride in what they do.
Yeah.
So, and the event is very short. And I mentioned the event goes on. You don't have time to fail. One of my staff actually, and I only came to hear about it after the event, actually had a funeral at her house. But I didn't know about it because, she was there. You see, and that's what you have to do. You have to commit. You have personal issues. Yeah. I think we really just do run on adrenaline. So all those personal things, you just can't even think about it. You just eat, sleep, and drink, the event and see what you can do to go on. So all of those things. So, the bus captains, they did work in shifts, but they worked like 24/7.
So after such a big event, how do you what's one thing which you do to break off that whole adrenaline rush, the stress of running up and down?
That event finished in November. We're still working on it because we're having to do reports.
Yes.
We're having to do a lot of things that we're working on that. So we didn't have a Christmas. I think New Year we took a couple of days, but we really didn't do anything. So we're still winding on and things like that, and putting out. A lot of it is the reports that we're working on, and answering different things. I mean, we had so many people that we had 100 side events. So we've got another 100 clients. So it's when you talk about like AFDB, I had one client, which was AFDB and the government, Ministry of Finance. This one, my client was Africa CDC. However, we had all these other clients that were independent, that we did 100 side events. So, I had like the big event, and then I had another 100 running at the same time, And so we're having to deal with all of those things. And there's a lot we're still following up, We haven't finished yet. I'm hoping that, anyway, at least the pressure is not that much, but this is second month post, and we're still just closing up on that.
Look, you've handled these big events. What did you do to increase on capacity? Was it a level of exposure? Was it?
If I reflect back on what we did, always, I mean, for me, I think I'm quite critical of everybody and everything. So I think that we didn't do enough, and we didn't have the capacity. We also got the work quite late. We only got the contract in September. The event was in November. So,
so
you don't have much time to plan. So that was quite hard, although we just really, there was a lot of training, a lot of things like that. But again, I just feel not enough. It was just not enough. And it's triggered me to actually go and look at doing more professional training.
Okay.
So I have signed up for certified meetings professional course that I'm doing in the States. Because it's in the States, I have to get up at 2:00 in the morning and attend classes.
Dedication, sacrifice, that's
Yep.
what's needed. Yeah.
Yep. But so that's important, and so that's one of the things we're doing, and I think I'm absolutely loving it because it's for the first time. I did my MBA some time ago, but I didn't see anything that was specific for meetings, and this is absolutely 100% just meetings. So, and it's it's just there's so much that's there, and you say okay, yes, and do this and do that, because it's all in the planning. If you don't plan, you're not going to get it there. So as they say, failing to plan is planning to fail.
Yeah.
So that's all what it is. And then there's the communication. So I'm doing this because I can't delegate it down if I don't do it myself. So I'm doing this, and then I'm doing the first cohort, and then I've got staff lined up that will do the next and things like that. And so then we'll be certified meeting professionals that we can actually float internationally and say, look, we are registered with the American organization of event professionals.
Which makes you be able to play at a global level. So
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Awesome. As I was going through your bio, so the Best of Zambia and Magic of Zambia. So I know Magic of Zambia is a travel guide. And then Best of Zambia is a showcase of what Zambia has to offer.
Yeah, I think you really did your homework.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned with ICASA in 1999, I really wanted to get in, and I failed. I failed to penetrate. I mean, I didn't have a track record. I mean, so I was only confident, but I mean, I never had anything to show, and it was maybe political, whatever it is, but I never got a foot in the door, not for want of trying. So then what we did, we decided, because at that time, every time you had an event, everybody put out a booklet. Where'd you go to eat? Where'd you go and do this? Where'd you go and do that? And so I said, you know what? You can't be doing this all the time and every time you do that. So we decided, well, let's do a guide to Zambia.
Yeah.
And let's encourage domestic tourism, which is what I did my dissertation on for my MBA. But so we did the guide to Zambia, and it was a traveler's guide to Zambia. We did 2 editions of that.
Okay.
However, when you print, the minute you before you even go to print, it's out of date. There's changes. So we did 2, and then we did a guide to Lusaka and a guide to Livingston, and we did maps. Very well received. However, when you're looking at that, it's better to go online, all of those things. And so we really needed to do. So we're working with... There's a girl that was doing the website for Zambia Tourism. We worked a lot with her, Angela, because we were doing the same thing.
Yes.
So there was a young girl that I worked with that really worked so much, Vandita. She's an artist, And then there was another gentleman, Jiffy, that did all the research, and he taught me so much about Zambia that I didn't know. I really didn't know. Many, many, many things. He was really good. So we did that. But then I think from there we've just progressed to the fact that it's better online. Then I was approached by an international group that works on what they call the Best of series. So they do these coffee table books with what we call timeless pages of history. And then just capture what is going on. And it's a coffee table book hardcover, beautiful photos. The first half is all about Zambia. The second half is about entities in Zambia. And that just captures, so that doesn't go out of time. So we're busy just putting to bed the third edition, which is going to be part of the 60 years celebration of Zambia. So we're just closing that up, and we're going to put that in and then have that there. And a lot of people are saying, oh no, but we're not going print. Yes, I agree. And we also try to reduce a lot on printing, but you can't, and you don't want to go away from something like that. Such a beautiful coffee table book that has got fabulous pictures and history. You know, there's history. I mean, when I look through at the ones that there's many companies that are no longer there. But it doesn't matter. So they are. You see, they're not, but they are. And that's really nice to look at that and remember. We did, and the last one we did 50 years of Zambia sugar. And Zambia sugar was actually started in Chirundu. And we had the family come out of the ones that started Zambia sugar. And it was just lovely, you know. So that history that you've got, which is not well known in Zambia.
Okay. And I've been able to see the Best of Zambia publication, and like an amazing publication, and I feel it should continue even going in the print space. Digital has, but there's something about touching something. It makes it feel alive, nice, like you're able to go into that space. And definitely.
And you know, you can flip on it and stop and, you know, flip and you don't have to worry about Wi-Fi, the pain of our lives.
And just keeping it as a souvenir or as something to reflect on. Because, I'm reminded of photo albums or photo books which are no longer there since everybody's going digital, just saving everything to the cloud. So. Yeah, awesome. So so where is there like a specific timeline when the Best of Zambia will?
We're putting it together. We're just finalizing on the artwork because we want to get it out as soon as possible by March, maybe April at latest. You know, we want to have it out.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
So, you've mentioned that you're still pushing, trying to be better, do better, greater things than you did yesterday. What's that one thing when you do, you're like, I have done it?
I don't know because I'm always looking to do something else. I think it is a question of one thing I think always, and I learned that some time ago, is to write down what you want to do. And sometimes when you do that, you know, you'll find even if you don't look at it, you'll come back and you've done those things. So you kind of like always ticking it off. You know, I want a Mercedes. I want to own my own house. You find down the line you've got it. If you decided you want it, and you've actually got those things. I'm moving very much away from material things. I just think, you know, you don't go to your grave with them. So I'd rather, my legacy is very important of what I do and leave behind. And I just enjoy mentoring, teaching, working together, appreciating people. And if I do that every day, I'm very happy.
Okay. So when all is said and done, what would you want to be remembered as?
A mentor. A mentor. That I've changed people's lives. And my late nephew, once said to me when he converted to being born again, he says, when the fish all come out of the sea and they on the sand and they flapping around and dying, he says, you need to pick one up to save it, and they've made a difference. And really, it doesn't matter. You just make a difference in one life. You can just say, okay, I've made that difference.
Awesome. Anything you'd want to share with somebody watching?
No idea. The only thing which you didn't touch on was Rotary.
Oh yeah, the charity.
So
How is it being a Rotarian?
I'm a late Rotarian. I only joined in 2019, but I actually do really love it. It's the biggest charity globally. It's the Rotary is about what we call the foundation, which is where Rotarians and well-wishers put money, and then that money is used for projects. Bill Gates is one of the biggest supporters of Rotary. So we've got a very big campaign of polio. So every dollar that we give to polio, he matches.
Okay.
So, we do a lot of projects. I mean, the things they've got, what they call 7 areas of focus, which covers everything. I mean, there's peace, there's environment, there's WASH, there's mother and child, there's education, there's health, all of those ones. So anything that you want to do is covered in those things. But there's a lot of structure in Rotary, which I love, because I think, I don't know, living in Zambia, there isn't that much structure. I think we do a lot of things, and Rotary is exceptionally structured. And if you don't toe the line, you're not part of it. You have to deliver. We can apply in Rotary. So Rotary is made up of a lot. There's 1.4 million members globally, with a number of clubs and things like that. And the clubs are autonomous. So, for instance, in Lusaka, we've got 12 clubs, and they're all autonomous. Okay. Now, we can apply as a club. So I am a president of a charter club. I set one up, the Rotary Club of Pelisa. We can apply to the foundation, or what we call a global grant, for up to $300,000 to do a project. Okay. However, you have to qualify. And you have to do training, and you have to be in good standing, which means you have to be paid up to Rotary. Yep. And if you're not that, you can't. So you've got that opportunity, but you have to work for it, and that's a really nice thing. And then that's how Rotary just works. And then you can go to anywhere in the world and just say, "Where's Rotary near me?" And they just open you with welcoming arms. It's really nice. It's a lovely family that is there and that is quite genuine. So I really am enjoying my Rotary journey.
So I guess now what you love doing is the Rotary side of things, when you're like, hey, you know what? Let me focus on this. Let's cool off some steam from image promotions and the events side of things. Awesome.
Yeah, I think I need to balance it. My youngest daughter is a chartered accountant and comes and whips me in the business. And she says, no Rotary. Because, at one time, I think it was on our books, it was more than 50% was Rotary, which is for free. So she looked and she says, nope. After hours.
Yeah.
So it's again discipline. So I think that's a lot of it. And it's very easy to go off track, you see. Yep. So a lot of the time, so that was quite good. It's really good, and I do appreciate that she comes in and whips me back and says, you know what, because that's not a good example to set. Yes. You see. I mean, I think this giving is quite good, but you've also got to balance it, and you're not at somebody else's expense. So you need to really work at that one. And so it didn't work very well in my business if we were doing too much Rotary, because then Rotary doesn't pay. That means then everybody doesn't. It's a domino effect. So we had to actually change that a bit.
Awesome. Yeah. So almost forgot. In conversation, you mentioned that you're a mother and a grandmother. How's been the journey?
Well, I was mother very young, so I think that I didn't. My first child was born, I think, before I was 20. So very young mother. And then after that, the easy thing with that was they grew up quite young. I was very young, so I was active mother, I think. And then I could then focus on doing other things. Yeah. And then my youngest daughter has got 2 grandchildren that are here, and they've got a very strong passion for horse riding. So they do all kinds of things. And I think that if I can recommend anything to any parent, is to get their children to associate with animals, because you want to get away from the tablets, the electronics, things like that, and that's so much better. And I can just see that it just really has such a positive impact on them, having this association with horses. So they had 5 horses, now they've got 7, and they've got 5 dogs and 5 cats. But they're really having to do a lot of things And I think, yeah, so that's it. So, yeah, they live in Lusaka, both my daughters. My eldest one works with me in Rooney's. My youngest one runs a transport business. And, yeah, so we close and we work a lot together. And it's really lovely.
So speaking on your husband.
So my husband, my youngest daughter decided, opted to come and join him in the business, the transport business. So then he allowed her and her husband to take over the transport business. And he's moved into farming. So he's farming in Chisamba. He's got his sister and his brother in Chisamba. And he's 81 in about a month's time. And he's doing exceptionally well. He's busy mining in southern province and farming. And
So does he get like sometimes a flashback, like, hey, let me get in the car and...
No, thank goodness. No, he doesn't. He's calmed down quite a bit. No, he doesn't do that. But yeah, he has made sure that the granddaughters they've got a quad bike and they've got a toy tractor with a grass cutter. So they're still all, kind of like involved with none of those things. But yeah, no, it's just we are definitely enjoying I think it's why you have children is to have grandchildren.
Yeah, awesome. That's been an amazing conversation. I've greatly enjoyed. I've greatly picked up a lot of lessons, and I think the most important one is sacrifice and dedication to what you love doing and making sure that you create great impact even to the people around you. And I know there are many people who've passed through image promotions, and if you look back now, you're like, oh, okay, that's great impact. Like, so, yeah, amazing. So looking forward to many upcoming events, bigger, better events. The ones which you get on time.
So they're always better, better. Not necessarily bigger, but you can always make them better.
Yeah.
And that's really important. We just need to continuously improve.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you have enjoyed this conversation and have picked up a lot of lessons. Make sure you comment and let us know where you're watching this from. So like, share, subscribe. From me, Dennis Umubanga Kaumbe. Bye-bye.